The end of the world is close at hand. I know it. It has to be true. I saw it on TV. There are also websites all over the internet dedicated to providing us with specific information about our inevitable demise. Will it be today, tomorrow, next week, or next year? Well, that all depends on who you talk to, where they derive their information, and how they calculated the precise date and time we will all be goners. End of the world predictions flood the media. These prophecies are not new. They have been around for hundreds, no, thousands of years. The power and sway these prophets held over the people during each of these time periods must have been strong. And these individuals must have been extremely popular, a superstar in their own day and age. Had they not swayed the thinking of the local population, their beliefs, their proposed words of wisdom would not have come down to us today as part of the historical record. The vast majority of these predictions come from religious traditions, primarily Christianity. The other big contributors to the end of the world drama are astrologers. They see gloom and doom and our inevitable demise in the stars. Fortunately for us, none of their predictions have come to pass. In the same breath, like the superstitious people of old, we are still, for some reason, waiting for the big one to come. The earliest recorded doomsday prophecy found so far comes from 2800 BC. Written on a stone tablet that was found in Assyria are the words, "Our earth is degenerate in these later days. There are signs that the world is speedily coming to an end. Bribery and corruption are common." Interestingly, it sounds remarkably similar to the description given by the Hindus of the Kali Yuga. As the writer predicted, the world, well, the Assyrian world, did come to an unfortunate end. The rest of us, not so much. The Romans too were affected by apocalyptic thinking. Early in Rome's history, a myth circulated that the city of Rome would be destroyed 120 years after its founding. According to the myth, 12 eagles revealed to Romulus the lifetime of the city of Rome. It was believed that each eagle represented 10 years. Thus 12 times 10 gave Rome a 120-year life expectancy. The expected date was sometime in 634 BC. I'm sure proponents of this theory would be shocked to learn that not only did the city of Rome survive, but the entire Roman Empire lasted for another 1,000 years. The return of Jesus has often been associated with the end of the world. The apostles themselves believed that Jesus would be coming back sometime during their lifetime. In the Gospel of Matthew, we are told, "Verily I say unto you, there will be some standing here which shall not taste of death, till they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom." It was also believed that the Last Judgment, thus the end of the world, would occur 1,000 years after the birth of Christ. That would make it 1000 AD. History reports that during the final year, fields were left unchecked and crops were not grown. Why bother work if the world is coming to an end? Who would need food if we're all going to die? Needless to say, that was a bust. What made this prophecy so fascinating is that after Judgment Day came and went, scholars were pressed into figuring out what happened, or should I say, why it didn't happen. New theories emerged which stated that the real Judgment Days was 1,000 years after Jesus' death, not birth. I guess they were a little embarrassed when that didn't come to pass either. In June of 1523, English astrologers predicted that the world would experience another deluge, which would annihilate mankind. This was to occur in June of 1524. The reports of the upcoming disaster caused 20,000 people in England to leave their homes. One organization, the Prior of St. Bartholomew, built a fortress and stocked it with 2 months' worth of food. When the expected day came, only clear skies could be seen. The astrologers recalculated their date and discovered they were 100 years off. Their calculations, needless to say, were proven wrong. We are still alive and dry today. Around the same time, a German astrologer, Johannes Stoffler, claimed that a conjunction of Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn would cause a giant flood to happen in February of 1524. In Germany, people built boats to save themselves from the impending doom. One man, Count Ingelheim, a big proponent of Stoffler, built a 3-story ark. On the forecasted day, a slight rain began to fall. This caused people to go into a widespread panic. Hundreds of people, including the Count, died. Stoffler, having survived the angry mob, also recalculated the date and found that the conjunction wasn't to occur until sometime in 1528. Thankfully, the people of Germany had learned their lesson and took little heed of his warning. In 1736, England was again marked for another flood deluge event. Proposed by William Whiston, on the date in question, the Thames River was filled with boats. Again, no rain, not even a sprinkle. William Miller, the founder of the Millerites, after spending 15 years studying the Bible, determined the world would conclude sometime in 1843. A meteor shower during this pre-apocalyptic period only proved to his followers that their days were numbered and the end was near. The first date proposed by Miller came and went. Then he proposed another, and another, and another. The last date he identified was October 22nd, 1844. When that day slipped into history undaunted, the Millerites finally relaxed. Surprisingly, Miller, even after all of his failed prophecies, was still revered at his death some 5 years later. A number of claims have also been made by individuals who have measured the inside of the Great Pyramid of Giza. The first date given was 1881. Obviously, nothing happened. New measurements were taken and a revised date of 1936 was proclaimed. Again, nothing. Measurements taken by another group offered up the date of 1953. Still nothing. How or why people associate the length of passageways in the Great Pyramid as an indication of our ultimate demise, the world may never know. The sleeping prophet Edgar Cayce also predicted Armageddon. According to Cayce, in 2001 or 2002, the Earth would shift on its axis. New York, Los Angeles, and San Francisco would be destroyed by earthquakes. England and Japan would both sink into the ocean. Also during this cataclysmic event, Atlantis would rise from the ocean floor. The famous astrologer Jean Dixon predicted in 1970 that sometime in the early 80s a comet would hit the Earth. According to Dixon, it may well become known as one of the worst disasters of the 20th century. She also claimed to know where the comet would strike, but did not want to share that information with the world until a future date. In turn, she also claimed that a woman would be elected president during the same time frame. Wrong and wrong. Televangelist and founder of the Christian Coalition, Pat Robertson, alarmed many of his congregation when he maintained in 1980 to know when the world would end. Robertson stated, "I guarantee to you by the end of 1982 there is going to be a judgment on the world." Robertson might have been judged by his followers, but nothing happened here on Earth. A Father Alexander McKenna, in a conversation with the Virgin Mary, was given a dire prediction. The Virgin Mary told Father Alexander that unless people gave up sin, war, and hatred, that most of the world's population would be destroyed by nuclear and environmental disasters before the end of 1999. Equally bizarre, Nancy Lieder claimed that through conversations with space aliens from the planet Zeta, a comet that passes in close proximity to the Earth once every 3,657 years would be returning in 2003. As it passes the Earth, it would create devastating problems. According to her otherworldly contacts, a number of dramatic things would happen. They included a pole shift, the stopping of the Earth's rotation for 3 days, gigantic tidal waves, lightning storms, and rains of fire. I don't know where the Zetas got their information, but I'm glad they were wrong about the end of the world that day. Y2K was another popular potential doomsday. Proponents predicted everything from airplane crashes, huge data losses, which would cause the demise of the global economy, major computer system failures, blackouts, and even a nuclear holocaust. During that time, gun sales rose and people stocked up on food in anticipation of the catastrophe. Midnight came, and not even a single computer glitch. Then let's not forget about the Mayan calendar. I think we were all bracing for something to happen that day. Yet another modern-day prophet is Harold Camping. He set the date for May 21st, 2011. According to Camping, the Bible has opened up his people's understanding to the biblical calendar found on the pages of the Bible. The genealogies of the book of Genesis, primarily in chapter 5 and 11, can be shown to be a precise calendar of the history of mankind in this world. The Bible's calendar of history is completely accurate and trustworthy. Since the Bible calendar is given by God in His Word, it can be trusted wholeheartedly. Surprisingly, this is not the first date provided by Camping. He originally predicted the world would come to an end on September 6, 1994. Luckily for us, May 21st came and went. Other than all of us getting a good laugh out of it, I guess he was wrong. Again. The end of the world predictions I have just shared are only a small sampling of the multitude that have been given over the years. My question is, what happens to the failed prophets? In some cases, like Camping, do they just come back with another date and hope they pick the correct one? I'm sorry, but something just doesn't seem right to that logic. In ancient Judaic law, a claimed prophet whose predictions did not come to pass were stoned. I guess they didn't take lightly to false prophets. Perhaps we should do the same to the modern ones as well. Hey, it's just a thought. Is it the end of the world as we know it? It doesn't seem like anyone has a handle on it. Charles Schulz, the creator of the Peanuts comic strip, once said, "Don't worry about the world coming to an end today. It's already tomorrow in Australia."